defending the free market, and making the moral case for capitalism. The Justin Moore Show.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Justin Moore Show, where we make sense of what's going on in this crazy, insane, out of control world. Now, yes, things are out of control. Here we have Bitcoin. Last week's show, I'm talking about, oh my gosh, Bitcoin broke $10,000 per coin. And now, Bitcoin has reached a high so far of $17,252. So all those points I'm talking about, oh my gosh, it's so crazy. In November alone, how we saw Bitcoin go up $3,000, and here people are talking about, oh man, if gold goes to $3,000, and people are saying, no, that's crazy, $3,000 for gold, no way. But Bitcoin did it in 1 month. And now here we're in just December, mid-December now, and we've seen Bitcoin go up $3,000 in just a few hours. Hell, Bitcoin around Thanksgiving was at $8,000 per coin. And Bitcoin has now gone up over 17,000, right? And currently it's at about 15,000. You've seen Bitcoin go up by $9,000 since Thanksgiving in just 2 weeks. I mean, okay, there's a lot of you out there, especially people who have invested in Bitcoin early. Oh, no, this is not a bubble, Justin. Nope. Okay, well, again, I'm not going to rehash everything I just said in last week's show. Talking about the two monkeys, the monkey who got one banana, the other monkey that got two bananas got one taken away, and he was all pissed off. I'm not going to get into all that. Just go listen to last week's show if you missed it, of kind of what I see happening with Bitcoin. Now, as I've stated over and over again, when I talk about Bitcoin, yes, there is value in the blockchain. So that's why there's some libertarians on both sides of the fence on this issue that is Bitcoin money, is Bitcoin not money? Because, as Rothbard said when defining money, that really a money must be a commodity first. Well, these libertarians are arguing, well, it is a commodity. Look at the blockchain. There is some sort of, I guess you can call it, I don't know, some sort of a virtual commodity. It was what Bitcoin is with the value of the blockchain. So the question is, what is the value of the blockchain? Is it $15,000 per Bitcoin? What is it? What's it going to settle at? Well, as I'm recording the show, we are actually just a few minutes away from the official exchanges opening up for Bitcoin. You'll actually be able to buy future contracts with Bitcoin. Yeah, that's just starting in Chicago. So you want to buy corn futures, wheat futures, whatever it is. And for those of you who don't know what a future is, you're agreeing at a specific price, and you're going to settle at that price at a specific time in the future. Like, okay, yes, that's what I'm willing to pay in March for Bitcoin, is what we're agreeing to on a price right now. And also what this brings into the mix, having Bitcoins and having them in the futures market, it's allowing people the chance to short Bitcoin. So if there's a lot of people out there who kind of think like me, a little bit skeptical, thinking, okay, yes, I see value in Bitcoin, I see value in cryptocurrencies, I see value with the blockchain, but is Bitcoin really the answer? Is Bitcoin the cryptocurrency, or is there a better one out there? And a lot of people who are putting all their money, or a lot of their money, into Bitcoin thinking they can get rich quick. Why do a lot of people buy lottery tickets? They want to get rich quick. Usually, and that's why, what do they call it? A dumb tax for people. The people who buy lottery tickets are typically the poorest among us. But they're the ones dishing over money for lottery tickets because they want to get rich quick. So in people's minds, the psychology of it with Bitcoin, when something has gone virtually straight up, you guys go type in Bitcoin, pull up Bitcoin graphs. Look at what Bitcoin has done in the last few weeks. The graph is literally vertical. It is straight up. Oh, it's not a bubble? Okay, well, here's what I'm going to predict here, okay? Who knows how much higher it's going to go up? But with all these new people rushing in, it's like I've seen the same thing. I've invested in gold and silver for years and years now. It's weird. You get gold to go up for 5 days up in a row. And like even I start feeling like, oh my gosh, yeah, this is awesome. And you start getting that and like, oh man, I got to look at what else I can buy. because I think about it when I'm starting to feel like that. It's like, whoa, hold back now. No, don't fall into the frenzy thing. Most likely there's a correction coming. And then there is. And with gold and silver, since the metals have reached their highs in 2011 and we haven't seen those highs since, gold goes up. Yeah, 5 days in a row. It's like, okay, wow, this is the new bubble, or this is the new bull market in gold and silver, but then it ends up correcting down 10, 15, 20%. It goes from there. Well, here's Bitcoin. It's been on a bull market. It's virtually gone straight up. It's doubled in just a matter of weeks from where it was at, 8,000 to 16,000 in 2 weeks. Like, that's nuts. You don't think that's a bubble. And it's like, I see people on Facebook who invested in Bitcoin, who are, also libertarians, great people, that sort of thing. And they're like, when they see a little pullback in Bitcoin when there was, I was just like a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, and there's a little pullback by like a few thousand. And it's like, I'm buying the dips, smiley face. It's like, okay. Yes, we can all look very, very smart when something is going straight up, but you're not going to look so smart when things come crashing down. So what I think is going to happen, there's going to have to be a significant correction to flush out a lot of this new money. I've seen it with gold, where you see people like, oh my gosh, people just start investing in gold. You look back 2015, from January to June, gold was doing amazing. I can't remember what it went up, 30%, 40% in that time frame. So people who just got into gold and started buying then, they thought, oh my God, and I'm seeing people, right, I should have thrown more money into it. Well, then after July, it never recovered from there. And so it still hasn't, those stocks still haven't reached those peaks that we've seen since then. I think the start of this year, I think gold has a bright future in 2018. But anyway, so with Bitcoin, I see it settling back down to under $5,000, under $2,000. It could even go under $1,000. It needs to flush out. If you guys actually want Bitcoin to work in a healthy market, you need corrections. When something that keeps going straight up, when I'm invested in gold and silver and I see it going straight up, it's like, nope. Yeah, we got to get rid of some of that new money. Got to flush it out. Got to bring people back down to reality. There is no reality in Bitcoin right now. Everybody's thinking they're a damn genius investing. There needs to be a healthy correction and a significant correction. And these corrections we're seeing now in Bitcoin, like these people, it doesn't take very much emotional strength right now to be in Bitcoin. They suffered through a correction. It went down by $2,000, $3,000. It dropped by 20%. But it drops down the next day. It hits a new high. Like, that's not a correction. I mean, a correction is like what's happened to gold and silver, where you saw it hit record highs. Gold hit $1,900 an ounce in 2011, and it settled down to, I think the lowest it hit was, when was that? Was that end of 2015? It was at just about $1,000 an ounce. And, as I was saying, I think Bitcoin is going to have a huge, significant decline, and it's not just going to last a day. It's going to be several months of Bitcoin just lingering around, like no energy, not doing much, kind of trading in a narrow band, if it's going to function like anything that's quasi-normal. But then again, there are people out there who the sky's the limit. Now, when something is virtual like this, who knows what's going to happen? As long as people believe in it. But with me saying all this about a correction in Bitcoin and all that, am I saying that the highest Bitcoin is ever going to go is 17,000? No. Bitcoin go to 40,000, 50,000. You don't know. But there needs to be a healthy correction here. If Bitcoin is really going to be a serious thing to be used in finance, that sort of thing, my guess is Bitcoin is not going to be at the levels it's at now. Okay, if there's any use for Bitcoin, it's not going to be that. Maybe it'll be around a few thousand, around $1,000, $1,200. Who knows? I'm just throwing numbers out, but kind of the vibe I'm sort of getting based on everything, all the information I see out there. And like, just for instance, a guy who's very bullish on Bitcoin. This is an article from seekingalpha.com by Viktor Durganov. And he asked the question, the title of his article, is it possible that Bitcoin is not in a bubble? And I'm only reading probably 5 sentences from this guy. And so here we are. The fact that Bitcoin is used as a currency on a daily basis, and the fact that numerous people use Bitcoin as a genuine store of value, suggests that Bitcoin may not be in much of a bubble as some skeptics would have you believe. Okay, like me. Moreover, Transaction volume in Bitcoin has not increased all that much over the past 2 years. Daily blockchain transactions have increased from about 200,000 to roughly 300,000 over the last 2 years. Hardly a bubble-like surge. In addition, Bitcoin doesn't appear to be exhibiting many of the characteristics witnessed at the height of other craze-infused manias. Also, if we observe a logarithmic chart which goes by percentage change, we can see that Bitcoin appears to have plenty of room to run in this current leg higher. And he continues here, just like one sentence left. I don't see why Bitcoin can't eventually have a combined market value comparable to gold or to the M0 money supply. Therefore, my end of year 2018 Bitcoin price target is $50,000, and my 2022 to 2023 price target for Bitcoin is $400,000 to $500,000. So there's a guy that's very, very bullish on Bitcoin, okay? Could he be right? I guess. I mean, that's possible. Anything's possible. Look at all the crazy crap that's going on right now. But, a lot of people, people who are kind of bearish and skeptical about Bitcoin like I am, and just, I definitely see it's in a bubble. That's why I say there needs to be a healthy correction. If you really want, if you believe in Bitcoin and its future, you should be for kind of a correction too. Just how I am with gold. I like to see corrections because I know it's not healthy seeing something go straight up like that. It's like, no, we need a little bit of a pullback here. Come on, let's get some of the dumb money out. People, and it's like, people have written books, the madness of crowds, that sort of thing. People literally have a fear of missing out on something. They see their friends getting rich. That's why bubbles get so crazy. Is because people don't like to see their friends getting rich. Well, that's how the average person is. For me, I don't care. I like to see people doing well. But there is a lot of jealousy out there. But people seem to forget there's always going to be someone who's making money faster than you are. Who cares? Live your life. Find a way to live your life where you can live the most amazing life you possibly can. You're not making millions of dollars a year. But with what you have, with what your interests are, how can you live that sort of lifestyle with what you got? What sort of jobs could you pursue? What sort of things can you engage in to live that lifestyle? And that's in my own life. That's what I've been trying to do as well. So I can live a very incredible life. But also, when we have Bitcoin here, so a lot of people, before I rudely interrupted myself, what I was getting to when we're talking about people who think like me that, we're skeptical of Bitcoin and just that we do think it's in a bubble. People are comparing Bitcoin's rise to the tulip mania that happened in Holland. And this is like in the mid 1600s, early 1600s. Or for those of you out there who like to think in terms of centuries, it'd be the 17th century. I know for me in my brain, whenever people are talking about 17th century, I have to think, okay, 17th century minus one. Oh, they're talking about the 1600s. Okay, now I know what you're talking about. I know for me, it's always hard to think in terms of centuries. Looking at the 17th century or the 1600s, there was a tulip bubble that happened. Basically, to make this very, very simple with what happened in Holland, is that people started, there was a sort of disease that happened with the tulips in Holland. It was called mosaic. And with mosaic, it basically caused a sort of discoloring of the tulip bulb. So there's like two different colors. It'd be like red and white streaks, or there's a multiple different colors. And if they had certain colors, it mean that they're a little more rare. And so eventually tulips began to be seen as a sort of status symbol. So people began trading tulips. And the largest increase of tulips, the increase in value that we saw in 1 month, was a rise by 20-fold. Okay, so right now in Bitcoin, it's basically been at a 17-fold increase in 2017. That's for the year. So that's why some people point out, hey, look, this is nowhere even close to where the tulip mania was at, okay? They had a 20-fold increase in 1 month, and we're at 17-fold increase for the year. So what we're doing right now is sustainable. So that's kind of what they would argue. Well, anyway, people, and when things got so crazy with the tulips, eventually they end up creating a futures market for tulips. Oh, yeah. So it just happened with Bitcoin today. Actually, it just opened up a few minutes ago as I'm recording this show. And who knows what's going to happen? Is Bitcoin going to go up or down because of this futures market? And with the tulip mania, the tulip bubble, the futures market kind of happened around the end of the bubble. So I don't know. Is Bitcoin, is it going to be just like the tulip mania? For me, I think so. I mean, people literally, I think the highest recorded exchange for a tulip for an asset was, I think someone traded 12 acres of land for one tulip. People were trading houses for a single tulip bulb. I mean, that's insane. But that happened in the 1600s. It was one of the first bubbles in recorded history. And so here we have Bitcoin. The question is it a bubble? I would say so. But as I keep saying over and over again, does this mean that we've topped out in Bitcoin? No. But I definitely see there's going to be a massive, massive correction to flush out some of this new money. All these people who think they're going to get rich quick. And I strongly encourage you guys, this is probably a year ago? I don't even know, a year and a half ago. And I watched the movie The Big Short. And you guys, if you've seen the movie, go see it again. Or if you haven't seen it yet, please go watch it. And just think of, instead of thinking of the housing market like they are in that movie, think of Bitcoin. Here's Steve Carell's character, based on a real guy, going to one of these housing meetings, housing industry meetings in Las Vegas, and he's just kind of asking people and just kind of get a feel for the market. He wants to short the housing market because he thinks things are out of control. And he's talking to a few of these guys. They're younger guys, and they're just making money hand over fist. They're talking about their weekends in limos and strippers and just having all this money, man, living the life. Like money is no object. It just comes to them just naturally. They don't have to work for it. It's just there. It's like, yeah, man, you should be doing this, dude. And just people just thought they couldn't lose. People were buying houses thinking they would never go down. That same sort of mindset is happening with Bitcoin. People don't see it going down. Oh, yeah, there's going to be a little correction when it hits a new high a day or two later. That is not a correction. There is definitely going to be a huge correction in Bitcoin. Now, yeah, with this new futures market that just began about 10 minutes ago, does that mean is Bitcoin is it's probably going to be, it's not going to be so wild in its fluctuations, but who knows? Are there going to be some maybe this futures the futures trading, with people beginning to short? Who knows? Maybe I'll try to short Bitcoin. I don't know. But you always have to be careful when you go to short Bitcoin because you have unlimited risk. It just keeps doubling and doubling. You have a short, your losses are just going to keep mounting and mounting. So be very careful with shorting. If I'm ever going to short Bitcoin, it's going to be with just a little bit of money just to play around with. Because, who knows? When things are this crazy, they can get even more crazy. It's like that famous quote from Warren Buffett. What is it? The market remains irrational longer than you remain solvent. Something like that. Which there's definitely a lot of truth to that. Because the market can keep going higher and higher when you're like, no, this is insane. These valuations are crazy. Or they can keep going down and down. Look at the gold market. Oh, no, it can't go any lower. And it does. But this is how markets work. And like what Rick Rule says, guy I've had on the show, a very successful investor, especially in commodities. The cure for low prices is low prices. The cure for high prices is high prices. Okay, so you need Bitcoin to come down to earth. Let prices keep going up. Eventually, more and more people are going to take money off the table. And there's also an interesting circumstance with Bitcoin because about 40% of the market of Bitcoin is owned by 100 people. So there's definitely a lot of manipulation that can happen amongst those 100 people. Now, am I saying there's going to be some sort of whatever you want to call it, some sort of collusion between those top 100 people who own Bitcoin? No. But who knows? I'm sure they're taking some profits out, just to be smart about it. But who knows what people are doing? This is a crazy, insane, out of control we are living in, wrapped up with everything that goes on with Trump and tweeting out stuff. I mean, holy crap. And then we got Bitcoin just taking off. And gold just still hardly does anything. Can't seem to break $1,300 an ounce. This is insane. And so, we go back to the tulip bulb mania. People ended up getting wiped out. People who thought, and the only reason people were buying tulip bulbs because they knew they could sell them for enormous profits. So they kept doing it and doing it. And then they originally thought that, okay, we buy these tulips, we get foreigners to come into our country, we can sell it to them. So it's kind of like these sort of manias work essentially like a Ponzi scheme. It keeps working as long as you have new suckers. And I guess it gets back to, it's the idea of the greater fool theory. that, yeah, prices can keep going up as long as there's another fool out there that you can sell to for a higher price than you bought in for. So that's the thing with Bitcoin. As long as you can keep pulling new people in who are willing to pay these new higher prices because they're all thinking, oh yeah, I buy Bitcoin at 17,000 a Bitcoin. If it goes to 34,000, well then I've doubled my money. Or if it goes to 100,000, So if people have that sort of mindset when something is going virtually straight up, that is going to be their mindset. And so you have the greater fool theory in full force. And so you ask me, should you be buying Bitcoin right now? I would say definitely not. This is not a healthy time to get into any sort of market. The little tiny corrections we've seen, as I've stated probably 2 or 3 times in just this episode alone, those are not corrections when it hits a new record high the next day. No. We haven't even seen a correction in months and months. I mean, there was a correction in Bitcoin a long time ago because I remember kind of watching it. And Bitcoin is at $1,200 for the longest time. And then it pulled back and it stayed around 600. And it stayed at 600 for a very, very long time. And then it started to surpass 1,200. Then it really started going up from there. So, yeah, I'm going to be watching. I'll kind of keep you guys up to date on this. I have more episodes. There's so many other things I need to get to that's in the news. Definitely another Venezuela update is needed. I won't do that for today. I'm going to keep this episode short. Just focus on Bitcoin. And if you own some Bitcoin, as I've stated, I stated this last episode, if you have more money in Bitcoin than you do in your savings, you should definitely consider taking profits. Because that's not healthy. Because here you're feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be so rich with this. But you're going to end up losing it all, most likely. There's a reason, like everyone thinks, when I'm working for United and some of the people in the office, like the one girl started mentioning to me, she's like, thinking about investing. She's like, well, yeah, you just buy low, sell high. Like, it's so simple. But it's not so simple because most people can't do it. The average investor loses money. The retail investor, they don't make money in the markets because the psychology thing. Why would people pay and buy into Bitcoin for the first time when it's at 15,000? When it's ran up from 8,000 to 16,000 in 2 weeks from Thanksgiving? Why? Because they think it's just going to keep going higher and higher. Psychologically, people want to buy into things where everyone else is. It's the bandwagon effect. It's the madness of crowds. All these sort of things and the fear of missing out. This is what runs people. Most people operate on a very emotional state of mind. And that also ties in with their politics, all the other things. You can relate so many things that if someone thinks a lot of things in terms of emotionally, it really affects them. People who are very emotional about stuff, they're not the best investors. They're the ones who always get wiped out. Some people who were in the tech bubble ended up, they're working at their job, yada, yada. And they're probably and a lot of them are the same people who got caught up in the housing market. They're always trying to find the latest fad or they stumble upon it. I got a buddy that told me, my taxi driver told me, yeah, go buy some Bitcoin. It's very interesting watching this. And it's especially some libertarians so caught up in this. And a lot of them don't see the bubble at all. But they're the ones who are willing, let's talk about bubbles. Oh, yeah, that's crazy, all this stuff. But when you're caught up in the midst of it yourself, it's hard. That's why it's so hard to spot bubbles for the average person. People get way too emotionally involved. So to step back and think about it. If you buy Bitcoin now, let's say you buy in at 15,000, the current price of one. So right now, if you just want to double your money, you need it to go to 30,000, just to double. Or you can invest in gold and silver, like I have. You can buy stocks that are down 80%, 90% from their highs. You could put the same amount of money you're going to put in Bitcoin, and a double of your money is just a fraction of a percent of the risk that you're taking with Bitcoin. And so that's what I'm doing. That's the judgment call I've made, comparing things. It's like, look at buying one Bitcoin now is the equivalent to buying you could buy a pretty reliable, decent used car for that price. 15,000? Yeah, you could find a car, Honda or a Kia with quite a bit of the features, 40,000 miles on it for about that price. And a fairly new model, last few years. And so here you're willing to pay that for a Bitcoin? Hey, stuff has happened before. As I just mentioned, the history of the tulip mania that happened in Holland in the 1600s, where someone traded one tulip bulb for 12 acres of land, or people trading their mansions, their houses for tulip bulbs. This crazy stuff, this will keep happening in our life. Oh, but this time it's different. No, this time is never different. It's always the same story. And so, ladies and gentlemen, just be careful out there. Yes, I do believe in, I do like to see the cryptocurrencies kind of battling it out with the US dollar, and I love the government kind of being fearful of these sort of things. I think that's awesome. So yeah, as I've said, there's definitely a lot of value with the cryptocurrencies, and I like to see the healthy debate out there with that. But just watch out and don't get caught up in this. And be careful. Take your profits if you're investing in Bitcoin. So anyway, guys, that is all I have for you on today's show. You can catch up on my old episodes. Just go to justinmooreshow.com, Moore is spelled M-O-H-R. You can donate to my show if you want, up to $50. I'll send you my bonus episodes. Or also, you can buy your Amazon goods through my website by clicking on the Amazon widget, the Amazon banner. If you're buying some Christmas presents this holiday season, if you buy your Amazon goods through my link, I get a small commission back. It costs you nothing extra. It's a way of helping my show out. You're not even donating to me. It's not costing you anything. So if you guys could do that, like, and all those, and those of you out there who have done that, thank you. Because I don't get any money for doing the show. So any little money I get from that, okay, hey, that's awesome. I need the money to help support, to help get the word out about the show. So anyway, guys, I thank you so much for being here. I'll talk with all you guys next week, and I'm looking forward to it. This is Justin Moore, signing off.